And as you know from watching this news hour here on Newsmax, since 2016, American musician and New Jersey native Jimmy Wilgus has been imprisoned in a Russian labor colony. He has been behind bars longer than fellow Americans Evan Gershkovich, Brittany Griner, Trevor Reed, and Canadian-American Paul Whelan. Jimmy is serving a 12-and-a-half-year prison sentence for a crime he says he did not commit. Jimmy's Russian trial was behind closed doors. He was not allowed to select his own lawyer or have a U.S. official present. Not even Jimmy's Russian wife was permitted inside the court proceedings. In the nearly 7 years of harsh prison conditions, Jimmy's health has deteriorated. He is now 53 years old with various medical conditions. More than a year ago, Jimmy suffered a stroke in prison, leaving him impaired. His family says the Russian warden refused to permit Jimmy to have an MRI. Jimmy's parents do not believe Jimmy will survive the remaining 5.5 years on his sentence. Fearing the worst, the Wilgus family has been trying to get a power of attorney for Jimmy to make sure his will is updated, but that's not an easy feat. They have spent about 1.5 years trying to get that done. Part of the process requires that the power of attorney paperwork be signed by a Russian notary, and that's a problem. The Russian notary cannot sign anything without an up-to-date U.S. passport, which Jimmy does not have. His U.S. passport expired in June of 2022. So then, what did Jimmy's family do? Well, in January, Jimmy's father, Jim Wilgus, reached out to the United States Embassy in Moscow to renew his son's passport. The U.S. Embassy's response email reads, in part, and this should make you pull your hair out, quote, "We are not able to issue passports to incarcerated U.S. citizens," end of quote. So now this show, we're trying to help. Yesterday, we asked the State Department for a comment. Part of their response reads, quote, "Because a passport is primarily used as a travel document under most circumstances, the department's policy is to issue the passport when an eligible U.S. national is released from detention," end of quote. The State Department, I mean, really, they could cut Jimmy a break on this. It wouldn't kill the State Department to do this. Of course, Jimmy's not traveling anywhere. He just needs a passport, a U.S. passport, for some paperwork to put his affairs in order should he die in prison, which regrettably looks likely. Is that really too much to ask of our State Department for an American citizen? By the way, and this really gets under my skin, our U.S. Ambassador, Lynn Tracy in Moscow, would not even bother to take 15 minutes to visit Jimmy when she's already at the prison visiting other imprisoned Americans who happen to be high-profile Americans.